What's up, my free-thinking friends? No matter who you voted for, no matter what political party you align with, there's one thing that was a huge gift to all of us out of this past election. And that one thing is that it's obvious that nobody gives a shit what celebrities think anymore. Donald Trump won the electoral vote and he won the popular vote. Kamala Harris had millions and millions of dollars behind her, so much of that coming from celebrities. Not only did she have the millions and millions of dollars, I think the campaign spending, I don't know the exact numbers, but I think it was at least double, maybe double. I'd have to check that. Don't believe me on that, but it was more. She spent way more money than the Trump campaign. And not only did she have the money, she had the entirety of support, backing from Hollywood, from movie stars, from singers, from rappers. She had this enclave, this army of famous people getting in front of the camera, getting in front of crowds, pretending like they understand and are the voice for the majority of the American people. Now, this is a phenomenon that I want to talk about in just a second. There's a very specific reason I think that this used to work. There's a reason I think people used to care what celebrities thought. And then I think there's a very specific reason, I have a theory, I have a hunch as to why the American people don't care what they think about anymore. But before I do that, I want to look at some of the insanity that was happening from some of these people. Now look, some of the videos that we're going to look at, I really like these people. I don't know that I like these people. I like these people's talent. They've given us some really great moments on screen and in concert and on CD. Yes, CD, I'm that old. MP3, Spotify, iTunes, whatever you want to say. They have enriched my life in a very specific way, which is their storytelling and their talent, the things that they are an expert in. But this is different.
I'm not here as a celebrity. I'm not here as a politician.
I'm not here as a celebrity. Yes, you are. Unfortunately, Beyonce, you don't go anywhere without being a celebrity. The idea that she can put aside her wealth and her fame and her celebrity and her teams of people to just be one of us is hilarious.
I'm here as a mother. A mother who cares deeply about the world my children and all of our children live in.
Me too.
A world where we have the freedom to control our bodies. A world where we're not divided. Imagine our daughters growing up seeing what's possible with no ceilings, no limitations. Imagine our grandmothers. Imagine what they feel right now. Those who have lived to see this historic day.
I don't have any issue with the things that she's talking about. In fact, I'm on board with the issues that she's talking about. However, the idea that this is relatable is a huge problem. And I think that ultimately was one of the biggest downfalls of the messaging around all of this, to have a celebrity stand up there and talk about the relatability. And people we saw people just don't care about that anymore, specifically from celebrities. Let's look at another one. This one is profoundly interesting.
If Donald Trump
So where will you move if Trump becomes president?
wins the presidency, a pig will fly out of my butthole because it will be a nightmare.
I have a house in Spain that is going to be ready right after the election.
Panama, Siberia,
Nova Scotia.
I'm definitely moving to Canada.
Straight to hell. Iceland.
France.
Asia's pretty cool. Like a mental hospital for a while because you're like, why is this happening?
I'm moving back to the Republic of Brooklyn, New York.
This is so crazy to me. Okay, so this is just a compilation of celebrities talking about where they would move if Donald Trump becomes president. How out of touch do you have to be? Do you realize that it isn't an option for American people, for most American people, to just pack up everything that they have to quit their jobs, to move to their second, third, fourth, or sixth, or seventh home in Spain. It's unbelievable.
I've always wanted to live in Italy, so I feel like that might be a good time.
I will run down the street naked in Mexico. No.
Who's Trump?
The tan, brother, you're orange.
I would move to the Caribbean.
The Bahamas?
Start a jet ski rental business.
Hawaii?
We can't have an orange president.
Maybe it's just a way to be closer to Obama.
I would
Hawaii? That's America.
be very concerned for America if Donald Trump won.
I'll stay in America.
John Krasinski. It was like, how did he even get roped into this? This had to have been some promotion, like at some promotional thing, and they just sat him down and asked him the question. And he's like, I'm going to live in America.
Stay here, fight the good fight.
I couldn't give up on where I live.
I'd probably stay here just purely out of like the laziness of not wanting to move.
Now, this one is so fun. This is Cardi B at a Kamala rally, a Harris rally, and this one is my favorite.
I believe in every word that comes out of her mouth.
I believe in every word that comes out of her mouth. And this is who we're listening to. This is who is supposed to convince us how to vote. Somebody saying, I believe in every word, and she's reading it. I believe in every word that comes out of her mouth.
She's passionate, she's compassionate, she shows empathy, and most of all, she is not delusional. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kamala recognized that this country is at risk, that the economy needs to get stronger, that the cost of food and the cost of living is too high. Damn, it's even high for me.
Oh, really? Cardi B, the cost of living is too high, even for you. All right. Are we getting the point, or is this enough? We got to dive into the comments because this is so amazing. I actually appreciate these celebrities' endorsements. They help me decide exactly who to boycott and forever ignore. And this one, I love this one. So simple. We're not stupid. Celebrities don't matter. Okay, I want to look at just one final one because I love the work of Will Ferrell. I grew up thinking he was so funny, from SNL to Elf to Talladega Nights. I just think he's hilarious. He's talented. He's passionate. He commits to everything that he's in, except for, in fact, I think this video is probably the least committed I've ever seen Will Ferrell in a bit. Let's take a look. Billy on the Street.
Hey guys, it's Billy. I am back on the street with the one and only Will Ferrell, and we are out here today to represent a very important voting demographic, loud white men for Kamala Harris. So you ready, Will? Ah! Miss, for $1, would you have sex with a Trump voter?
Absolutely not.
Thank you very much. For another $1, what's your favorite Will Ferrell movie?
Elf.
Elf, obviously.
Talladega Nights is a big one because I worked in racing.
Oh, wow!
Yeah.
I don't have time.
For $1, would you have sex with a Trump voter? Now, this is a different angle to go at it.
Time for this whole biography. Sir, for $1, which would you rather see a sequel to, Elf or Trump?
Elf.
Yes, there you
Okay,
go!
there you go.
Have you voted yet?
No.
Okay, who are you going to vote for?
Harris.
Yeah!
How awkward does Will Ferrell look in this video? I mean, I've never seen him hold back in a way. I've never seen him not have something funny to say. And it just feels so incredibly forced. It feels so incredibly unnatural. Why? Why is he doing this? And look, again, I'm all for people having their voice. That's fine. Put yourself on screen and do this. But the beauty of all of this to me is that people no longer care. The majority no longer cares. Let me correct that. It's not that people no longer care. It's that clearly the majority no longer cares what celebrities think. Now, on to my theory of why this was such a thing, why celebrities began to endorse politicians, and why they started telling you who to vote for. There's something, they're in a unique position, and there's a logical fallacy, and the logical fallacy is called the appeal to authority. So think about it for just a second. Most of these celebrities came up and are performing and giving us their talents in a time where they're on the big screen. They're on the big stage. So us as normal day folks, we go to the movies and we see Will Ferrell in Elf, and he's on this huge screen and he's hilarious and he's lovable. And you walk away from that movie with your heart warmed, and your family was there and you all laughed together, and then you quote the lines together, and Will Ferrell becomes an almost unhuman-like personality. He becomes something that's so great because he created the thing that he was in, created these moments for you. Now, that gives him authority in a very specific way, which is you end up trusting him for these moments over and over and over again. It's the same thing with a band that you really love. You go to a show, they're up on the big stage. There's a huge crowd. Everybody's shouting, screaming for them. They sing the song that you first fell in love to, or they sing the song that got you through a really hard time, or they sing the song that gets you dancing and makes you feel amazing. And then all of a sudden, in your subconscious, in your brain, in your perspective, they become an authority in a way of those experiences. The fallacy of appeal to authority simply states this: it's when somebody asserts that a claim is true simply because an authority figure or someone with a status supports it, without providing relevant evidence or reasoning for the claim itself. So here's what's interesting is that these celebrities and these musicians and these artists, they do something that captures our heart. And then with that authority, with that relationship, they then can take it and talk about things that they have no business talking about. They don't have facts, typically don't have facts and figures behind it. They don't have any evidence to support their claims. And really all they're going off of is that, you know what, because you watch Elf 5 times every Christmas season, I have trust with you. And now I'm going to try to tell you what to do in areas that are completely outside of my expertise, that I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to support it with any evidence. And by the way, you should just do it because I tell you it's good. But then something really interesting happened. The invent of the internet, and then the invent of the iPhone or the smartphone, and the invent of YouTube. And now pretty soon, anybody, me, you, we can put ourselves on screen. And just because we put ourselves on screen does not mean, or because we publish music or write a book or anything, just because we do that no longer means that we're an authority in any sort of way. Now, in order to be an authority, we actually have to be able to present evidence. We actually have to be able to capture your attention in a way that's meaningful, that you would trust us, or that you would trust me, or that I would trust them. I don't know why I'm saying us. It's not like I'm that figure. So now anybody can create content. So now me, as a consumer of content, I have to actually start thinking about, well, what are their motivations? Who are they? Do they make good points? Do they have evidence around their thinking and their logic? This is my theory. This is why I believe that people, the American people, the majority of the American people have become disillusioned by the celebrity touch. No longer do we look at these people like they're some grand thing that we could never be and could only dream of. And yes, we should listen to them and their opinions matter, because my neighbor tomorrow might become one of the biggest voices in America on a specific topic. So naturally, people are starting to ask themselves, is this actually somebody that I trust? Is this actually somebody that knows what they're talking about in this realm? Do they have evidence for what they're actually saying? In my experience in being in a high control religion, it's exactly the same thing. Before the invent of the internet, before the invent of this way to actually broadcast ourselves and send out messages from the everyday person, there was a deep appeal to authority in that religion. And they could create an entire narrative around what they wanted you to believe. And it didn't necessarily need to be factual or real or any of that sort of stuff. They could just tell you. But because they're in a position of authority, because you see them up on that stage, behind that pulpit, week after week, or on the television every other, twice a year, something like that. Because they're in that position, I just believed what they said. And then I started hearing other people. I started having the opportunity to hear other perspectives from people like me. And those ideas seemed to be much more founded around fact and logic and the willingness to think through things. And then I started wanting to pay attention to the people who actually knew what they were talking about. Either they had done it before or they had studied it for a long time, and I could tell that their thinking was clear around it. And those are the people that I wanted to get information from. And that ultimately led me to leave that high demand, high control religion. We're seeing the exact same thing in the United States of America. I believe that's my theory. But who the hell am I? I'm an ordinary guy. I in my room, turn on a camera, and I can broadcast myself. So I'm not an authority in it either. But isn't it interesting? And I think it's a huge gift that the entire nation and probably the entire world has been given, is that we no longer need to listen to these out-of-touch people who don't understand our day-to-day life whatsoever. We no longer need to listen to them and accept what they're telling us to do. So I have a prediction. My prediction is this, is that whoever is running in 2028, I bet they don't even look to Hollywood and celebrity to try to win the race. I'll bet they do things much more around going on podcasts, having long conversations, actually putting forth ideas that are sound, and bringing in experts that know what they're talking about, that have been in fields for a really, really long time, that can actually talk to the real results and facts and evidence that exists on that topic. I think politics will learn the lesson that we were so aptly taught in this last election, and that is nobody gives a shit what celebrities think about how we should vote and how that would relate to how we live our everyday life. There's two more clips I want to show you. One that's been really, really popular. You've probably already seen it, but it's just absolutely cringy. And you're gonna, now that we've talked about what it is that's happening with these celebrities, I think you're gonna look at this clip in a different way. I want you to pay attention how little detail there is in this sentiment, that Jimmy Kimmel doesn't talk about specifics at all about his claims. And I also want you to pay attention to how he talks in the collective, like as if the majority of his viewers, the majority of the country is with him. And that's very key because he assumes that he knows our experience. He assumes that his experience is our experience. Take a listen.
Be honest, it was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go, for healthcare, for our climate, for science, for journalism.
Okay, the country voted, and it voted in a direction that is not the direction that he's talking about. The people who voted do not agree with him. And he's talking like he's talking for the people. Like it was a very bad night for these people and these people and these people and these people. Well, guess what? There has to be a bit of those people in the majority vote.
For justice, for free speech, it was a terrible night for poor people, for the middle class, for seniors who rely on Social Security, for our allies in Ukraine, for NATO, for the truth and democracy and decency. And it was a terrible night for everyone who voted against him. And guess what? It was a bad night for everyone who voted for him, too. You just don't realize it yet.
Oh, look how smart Jimmy Kimmel is. He's so much smarter than you and me because he knows that it's going to be a bad decision. He knows that whether you voted for him, voted for Trump, or didn't vote for Trump, it was a bad night for you. You just don't know it yet. Believe me, I'm smarter than you. That's so arrogant. It's so disconnected. Oh my gosh. All right. I'm going to take this video out with one clip. There's one clip I have to show you. It would not be complete. It's my man, Ricky Gervais, the one who is always willing to stand up to the celebrity bullshit that happens. Check it out.
Hi guys, Ricky G here, wellness and beauty influencer. As a celebrity, I know all about stuff, like science and politics. So trust me when I tell you who you should vote for. If you don't vote the right way, that's like a hate crime, and it makes me sad and angry, and I'll leave the country. And you don't want that.
It's so perfect, my friends. All right, my free-thinking friends, don't appeal to authority, especially the authority that is out of place. Sure, if somebody is willing to bring evidence and have a logical argument for something, listen to them. But don't just accept the words because they're saying it. Don't just accept the words because you believe them or they've impacted your life in some way. You have the ability to think for yourself, whether or not their arguments are sound, whether or not the arguments match up both your lived experience and what real experts have studied and talked about. And by the way, real experts, most experts know that we're constantly getting new information. Most experts that are sound thinkers, they don't want you to believe them. They want you to believe the evidence. And if the evidence is strong enough, then it should convince you of the truthfulness of something or the untruthfulness of something. So my friends, stay vigilant, think free, peace.